Come on in, welcome to my home. Today we're continuing the series of things I still have, things I still do, and things I still make. Today, on this overcast day, we are going with the things I still do. These are my top 10 things that I've told you about on this channel that I still do. They're in no particular order, but all of them are, I think, made my life a little bit easier and made things around here a little bit better. So let's start it off. Number 10 is my bullet journal. Now, originally my bullet journal started off as a paper bullet journal. It was physical, and it worked for quite a while. I enjoyed doing it. I didn't make it all artsy and everything, but after a while I realized, nope, that isn't going to work for exactly me, because a lot of things I would write over and over and over again. And guess what? That got old. That got old really quick. So I did switch over to a digital bullet journal, and since then I have not looked back, because everything that I do, everything that I have coming in, especially like things that I order, things that are events, I'm one of these people who doesn't like to just say, I want to get something done. I'll put it on a day to get it done, and I will then get it done. And so my bullet journal, or my calendar, or whatever you want to do, because I think of it more as a bullet journal versus a calendar, because there are tasks on there, there are lists, it's just all works really well. I do use the Google suite of products using Google Sheets, Google Docs, and then the Google Calendar integrated in with my mail, so that way as everything comes up, I can just go ahead, put it in, go, and everything is great. There's no worrying about, well, is this scheduled, is this not scheduled, did I write it down, did I remember to cross it out, take it over? Nope, it's all digitally done for me. So that is my number one thing right now. My number 10, I guess you'd say, thing of things that I love. Number 9. Do you have the equipment to do your job? There's nothing worse than not having the right equipment. In the video I talked about trying to get a project done can be adventurous enough, especially when you are trying to do something completely different or trying to do just about anything. But when you have to figure out how to create the equipment to then go ahead and do the project that you need to do, that can really, really make things difficult. Nowhere in there was I saying that you needed to have the most expensive equipment or the absolute best equipment, but you need to have the right equipment for what you are doing. And I have found this over and over and over again. If you don't have the right equipment, the job just takes so much longer. And then when you get frustrated because it's taking so long, it's so hard to do, you're less likely to continue doing the job than you would be if you just from the beginning had what you actually needed to get things done. If you don't have what you need to get things done, can you fake it? Well, probably, but my philosophy on this one is, if I actually don't have the equipment to do it, I'm going to hire somebody to do it. Or I will buy the equipment to do it if, it's one of those, can you afford to buy the equipment? Can you afford to hire somebody? You have to figure out what works for you, but trying to do something without the right equipment, I highly, highly don't recommend that. And that was what that whole video was about, was making sure you have the right equipment. Number 8 is a home hub. Every house needs a home hub. My home hub has made life so much easier, because I know when I have something that's coming into the house where it needs to land first, and I can disperse it from there. And I know when I have something that's going out of the house where it should go, so that way I can then, take it from there. This also helps with Mom being my next door neighbor. If she comes over and I'm not here and she needs to give me something, she can place it in my home hub, and it's great. I can literally find whatever it is that I just got, or she wants me to see, or one of those sort of things. Having a place, and it's like when the infamous a place for everything and everything in its place, well, finding a place for when things come in or go out, it just makes life easier. And the home hub is something that I would never ever do without again. It's great for my keys and my change. Not that I actually have change, but if I ever had change, it's great for that. A place to put my wallet, so that way as I'm leaving, I can grab all that stuff and go out the door. As I come in, I can put it all there. Mail. And I'm one of these people who I truly believe when you get the mail, do with your mail right then and there. So my home hub basically is just a spot where I can even have a digital calendar so that way everybody can see what's going on in my life, and then there's no question. Mom, who's still on a paper calendar, her home hub, she has her calendar right there, a spot for notes. Not that we actually have notes, but if we did, it would be right there. And it's a great place to put things so that way you know what you need to take with you or what you just brought in. It's all right there. I really did love my home hub. Although it might be really interesting, number 7, extreme cleaning. It's not great. Just so that you know, extreme cleaning is a really bad idea because guess what? To get to that point, it has to get to that point. One of the worst things that you can do is let everything accumulate to the point where you have to do some sort of extreme cleaning. And like I said, it makes for great video, it makes for great television, but if you are living through this, if you are the one who's actually going through and having to climb over piles of things, or when people walk into your house, their first words are, "It looks like a struggle happened here," yeah, not so cool. And that's something to really think about, is the fact that your extreme cleaning or waiting till you have one of these really big days where you clean everything up. No, if you do small bits as you go along, it's going to make your life so much easier. I cannot stress how much easier that is. It will make you happier. It will make you feel like, it's not overwhelming. Extreme cleaning does do that really fantastic thing of it gives you that feeling when the whole house is nice and clean after it's been so horribly cluttered up for all that time. But it gets there. I mean, your house doesn't get torn up that badly overnight unless there was a struggle there in one session. So you've had to let it go. Don't do that. Do it as small parts as you go along. You'll be much happier. You'll be much, much happier. And things will go well for you. Number 5 is stop organizing. Stop decluttering. Stop organizing. Here's the thing. People have a tendency to decide, today I'm going to organize, and guess what? I stopped that. Because what happens is when you decide, today I'm going to organize, you'll rush out and you'll buy a whole bunch of stuff to organize your stuff versus finding out what it is you need to organize first. It's a simple sort of catch-22. Until you know what you're going to contain, you don't know how to contain it. And that's one of the biggest things that I've found made my life so much easier, is I stopped organizing and started living with how things actually went. Then, once I got that, then I would just gather up the stuff, contain it, figure out where to put it, that sort of thing. And that's one of the things which is really important about stopping organizing, is don't think of it as organizing, think of it as just holding it in the spot that it's going to be in that amount of time when you're not using it. When you think of organizing, people want to do the whole let's organize all at once, and I did that. I used to do that all the time. That was a big fatal mistake, because when I would do that, I would end up with boxes that had nothing in them for ages because I thought I would need those boxes before I found out what it was that I was organizing. And then the other part about this is, sure, the things might be organized, but do I actually use the stuff that I just took all that time to organize? Might be no. And if you're not going to use the stuff that you're organizing, why are you organizing it? And in the whole stop organizing video, I did talk about, don't just throw things away because you haven't used them in 6 months. Guess what? I haven't used my Christmas decorations in 6 months. Does that mean I should throw them away? Probably not. And if we look back on the history of things, when we think about our grandparents and great-grandparents, how they used to have attics filled with stuff, and then when they needed to get something or they wanted to change out the furniture, you just go up to the attic and get it. Probably saved them a lot of money. They didn't need to go thrift shopping when the thrift shop was in their home, and it was probably in a way that made sense, where things are grouped together. So yeah, group things together, put them where you use them, and stop organizing. Number 3 is live with it for a while. One of the things that people want to really do is make a space their own, or make something their own, before they see how it actually works. I've been guilty of that. I was guilty of that for quite a while, where I'd go into this space, or I'd get something, and I'd try to make it my own instantly before I see how it's going to work, and that's the worst thing that I ever did. I mean, that just does not work whatsoever, because you might be surprised to find out that some of the things which you thought would be working wonderfully don't work at all. Or some of the things which you, like, okay, let's take this room. When I originally did this room, dining room, which was right behind me, I thought that'd be the spot where I would eat whenever I was over here, and I'd have food, and I never eat there. Like, never ever do I eat there. If I'm here, I'm usually by myself, and I will eat in my office, which has a table. So, yeah, that's its own problem, because I literally did. I set this up, and I'm like, oh, this is how these things are going to work. These are going to all be like this. I should do this, paint this room that color, do that sort of thing. And you find out very quickly, if you live with it for a while, to see if you like it, if you don't like it, if it works for you. One of the weirdest things is the fact that, I mean, this room's gone through so many changes, but the way that the furniture is arranged right now is the most practical for what I do and how I live my life. So it's one of those adapt, see if it works. If it doesn't work, see what you can change it. But don't just go into a spot and be like, I've just moved here, I'm going to buy all new furniture because I just want all new furniture. Or even worse, before you go someplace, you just buy all new everything before you see if your old stuff is going to work. Because that can be a waste of time, it can be a waste of money, it can be a waste of a lot of things. So live with things. Living with things has taught me quite a bit first. It teaches me, do I really need something else to fulfill the thing that I have? Now, there are points where you're just like, well, there's something that could do the job better. And you will realize that really quickly if you live with what you have first and then see where you should go from there. That was one of the things I definitely learned. Can we talk about something that's really important, and that is, if you want to help yourself and help other people,
I need to say something about boundaries. If you're an at-home...
when I first started working from home, did not do this. And when I didn't do this, there were people constantly, when I did all sorts of baking, they would call me at the last minute and be like, hey, can you bake this thing for me? We're having a bake sale. Or can you do this for me? You don't have a job. You're not doing anything. And it's just like, well, no, I can't. You need to have some boundaries. You need to have a way to say, hey, these are my working hours. These are not my working hours. And that was one of the things I was the worst at. When I originally started doing YouTube full time, I would be doing all sorts of YouTube stuff Monday through Sunday. Never took a break. I never stopped. It was always something. And even a lot of times when it was just like, oh, I'm just going to watch this video just for random watching the video, it might start off this way, and then all of a sudden it became, hey, I'm going to analyze why this video works, why this video doesn't work. And that became its own problem. That became a big issue because I never turned off my mind from thinking about what could I do next? How could I improve? How could I do these things? And when you do that, you don't have the boundaries to say, hey, whoa. I need some time. So then I have reined it back in, because at one point I think I was doing 5 or 6 videos a week. Then I dropped it down to 3. Now we're down to 1 video a week, because It was all consuming. Everything that I did, every moment that I was awake, there were no boundaries. There were no, well, okay, yes, I should, have some time to myself. And I have found that actually keeps from somebody having burnout. So on the weekends are mine. That's really important. I now take holidays. I don't know if you realize this, I hope you do, that these videos are filmed in advance because the people over on Patreon, they get these videos about 2 weeks before you get the video, so everything is done in advance in case something does come up. I have the ability to say, hey, I can't do this thing. And I also have the ability to tell people in my life, even people who I love immensely, I can tell them, hey, this is not possible because this is what I have going on. And not even that is necessary. As long as you set the boundaries and say, this is how I can work, how I can do the things that I need to do. If what you want me to do falls into that, that's really great, and I can help you. If it doesn't, something's going to have to give, because you've got to set boundaries. If you don't, you're going to have all sorts of different problems. One of the greatest things, which is number 2 on my list, was my small itty-bitty way of actually keeping things straightened, keeping things organized, which was just doing one shelf or one drawer or just a small space a day. Monday through Friday, I do one drawer, one shelf, one space a day, and it does work. This is one of the best things that I've ever done, simply because I don't feel so overwhelmed and thinking, well, I've got to organize everything today because it's cleaning day. Well, no, just do it little bits at a time, and I can go from there. What's really cool about this is it's a never-ending process, and since it's a never-ending process, that means that I will keep going back over the things which I've already done eventually. Does it take a long time? Oh yeah, it takes a long time, and that's actually pretty cool, because then you're going to find out that sometimes what you thought was going to work in one spot doesn't work. You end up shifting it, moving it, and it's really nice to just relax, not stress about it. And I mean, like this morning, I just did a shelf. It took me just a few minutes to do, and it was done. I can keep my house clean and I can keep on going. So yeah, that's a really nice thing to do. So I highly recommend, if you're going to start organizing, if you're going to start straightening things up, just do one shelf at a time. That was a great video. It was a great idea. So yeah, I love that. My number 1 thing on this list of 10, which made my life the easiest, was my weekly routine. I know that's fairly new. Actually, it's not new. It's just new to you. I've been doing my weekly routine for quite a while now, and it is so nice to have days of the week where I know this is what I'm going to do, and it makes a difference. It makes a big difference. It's no longer a question of, well, I know that this needs to be done. When am I going to do it? No, I have a day that those things are going to be done, and it makes life great. Now, the one thing to remember about a weekly routine, if it looks like you're not going to get something done on that day that you'd normally do it, it's not the end of the world. You can change up your weekly routine. There is nothing wrong with that. Your weekly routine can change for what works for you. And some weeks it's not going to work exactly the way that you'd always planned it. Just adapt. Adapting's good. But when you have a weekly routine, you have the basic structure for your week. You have the basic idea, so that way on Friday, or even worse, on Saturday and Sunday, on the days when you really shouldn't have to do anything, what are you doing? You're struggling to try to get stuff done because your weekly routine says, I had all of this stuff that I needed to get done this week, and I didn't. This is also, like I said, with my digital bullet journaling, I make sure that I plan on when I'm going to do something versus just giving this, I think the word's nebulous idea of, I want to get this thing done. I'm not going to give it a date. I'm just going to put it on my to-do list, and it's going to hover there mocking me forever until I get it done. But if I have a date for it, I can also look and see when is there a good time to do that thing, so that way it's great. I mean, when, like, my week is divided up so well that, like, today, it's Monday. It is a filming day. Yes, I record these on Monday. Then tomorrow, of course, we'll be cleaning and editing. I mean, the week is just so structured, so set up that it's so nice to know when I wake up in the morning what it is that's going to happen. Or I can also make plans to plan ahead about the whole, if I want to do something different that day, I can make plans to get my things that I needed to get done and I would normally do on that day of the week, done on another day of the week. Oh, my weekly routine it just makes my life so comfortable, so nice. Now, will this work for everybody? It might not, but you never know. But these are the things that I still do. Some of them I've been doing for many, many years. They work for me. They might not work for you. I would love to hear down in the comments what ideas in here worked really well for you. If you have not seen these videos, they are all linked down below in the description. And at this time, I'd like to take a time to thank all my people on Patreon. We talk about things that go on with the videos. They get all of these videos 2 weeks in advance, and also they get a weekly video which is sort of a behind the scenes of my life and what goes on, and it's really sort of fun. They help me decide what videos should be made next, and it's a great place to be. You can also like and share this video because that really helps with the YouTube algorithm to get this channel out there and more known, because there are other things that I'd like to do. I would really, really love to someday build a house. Yes, build a house. But we're going to have to come up with some money for that, and I do have some ideas on some plans. If you want to hear about that, let me know down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helped you out. Check out those videos, and I hope to get to see you again the next time you stop by.